Hey everyone, welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nissa and today we're gonna make two habitats because I thought the videos was a little bit short, so we're gonna make them together here. And it's the snow leopard first in this end of kitty cat house, and in the other end of kitty cat house we have the Bornean clouded leopard. The Bornean clouded leopard is a subspecies of the Sundra clouded leopard, and I'm just gonna mention it's the Sundra and not the Tundra, just not to confuse anyone. And to get a little more information about the Bornean clouded leopard, I will tell you a bit about the Sundra also, but I will try to specify when I talk about the specific Bornean clouded leopard and the Sundra clouded leopard. But we're gonna start with the snow leopard since it's their habitat I'm building at this point. And I'm gonna give them a lot of snow. I pulled the snow out in front of the habitat to make sure that the guests get this feeling, as I talked about before here in kitty cat house, that we pull the guests kind of into the habitat by placing part of the habitats in front of the barrier. So that's what we're doing here with the snow, and then I try to place snow in most of the habitat, but keep the coolers so they don't affect the neighboring cats, since the snow leopard is the only cat we have in Future Life Asia who actually like these cold areas. As always, when we look at leopards, they are having the colors that fits their areas the best, to camouflage them from the prey so they don't have to chase them too far. And since it is a snow leopard, it's of course have this very light yellowish brown color, and then they have these darker rosettes which have a blackish brown color. Their fur is extremely long compared to other leopards, and they have kind of the same structure as wool to really isolate them for the coldest winters. We have before on this channel talked about leopards with rounder faces, but no one have as round as a face as the snow leopards. This is more distinctive, especially with the short ears, the short everything, to be honest, shorter snout, shorter legs, and a really thick compact body to maintain the body heat throughout the body. If they have very long neck, legs, tail, everything, then the blood would have to circulate much further away from the main part of the body and therefore become colder on the journey. This way everything is close and you can keep the body heat way easier. Snow leopards live in Asia, more specifically Bhutan, China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, I think it's pronounced, I'm not quite sure there. Then we have Mongolia, Nepal, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Afghanistan. They mainly live in the rockiest mountains in these areas, where they through the summer will stay between 2,070 to 6,000 meters above the ground, which would be around 8,900 feet to 20,000 feet above ground, which would be above where the forest line normally is around a mountain. But through the winters, when it gets colder, they search further down the mountains and live among the alpine tree line. I am aware that I give them a lot more foliage in here that they will actually like, but it is to kind of give them a feeling that they can easily hide down here, so they won't be as afraid of the guests as they otherwise would be. They are extremely shy areas and in the wild live very far away for humans if they can, so therefore we will always give them a way to hide out down here so they don't need to stay up in their sleeping area or in the back of the habitat all the time. This snow leopard is a carnivore, and since there aren't that much life around where it lives, they take pretty much everything they find. So that could include ibex, markhor, deer, bharal, boar, mammoth, and small rodents and pikas. So pretty much if you are a living creature and you find a snow leopard, make sure not to become their dinner. The snow leopard is another cat where, as I would like to say, the males are polyamorous, meaning that the male will mate with multiple females, but the females will only mate with one male, which normally happens from January to March. Snow leopards' litters are very in between other cats, honestly. They can get between 1 and 5 babies at the time, but they normally only get between 2 and 3. So it varies a lot also by how much the female actually are able to take care of. If she are starved, then she will have a hard time giving birth to multiple kittens. And after a year, the kittens will be able to take care of themselves. They need to do this fast because, again, the snow leopards don't have too much food around, so she can't really afford to feed them for too long. The snow leopard is at this point endangered according to IUCN Red List, and they have a lot of reasons to be so. They have been hunted for years because their fur gives a really nice coat, and a lot of their body are used in traditional Asian medicines. A newer threat is the climate, which fragmentates their habitats, and they also lose a big chunk of habitats at times. This pulls the leopards away from each other, but also limits their movement overall. But it seems like we are starting the Bornean clouded leopard habitat now, so let's talk a little bit about them. The Bornean clouded leopard honestly have a very special and very short story. It's only native to Borneo, and it haven't actually been a species on their own before 2017, where the cat classification task force of the cat specialized group recognized it as a valid subspecies of the Sundra clouded leopard. Before this, they were only counted as the Sundra clouded leopard, but they are a bit different from their Batu Sumatran clouded leopards relatives, since they have a different frequency in spots, and they have a craniomodular and dental characters are different. So overall, of course, there aren't that much to talk about. They live in the region Kalimantan, but again, the island of Borneo. They don't have any information besides that in here, besides the fact that it is endangered, and especially when you point out a subspecies this late from other subspecies, they haven't really have a classification before, so you have nothing really to compare it to. So therefore, of course, now I'm gonna talk about the Sundra clouded leopard, and the rest of my information will be about that. The Sundra clouded leopard is native to Borneo and Sumatra. It has this grayish yellow or completely gray hue to it, and it have a lot of these rosettes, as a lot of leopards has. They have a double line down the back, which are paired with these cloud-like spots, mainly around the shoulders. It have a very stocky build, not compared with the snow leopard, of course, but it is kind of one of these heavier looking leopards. Not that it necessarily is heavy, but it looks more heavy with these shorter legs. The canines is also a bit different than all other leopards and all other cats, to be honest. They are above 2 inch long, which would be around 5.1 centimeters long. This doesn't sound that weird, but it is, compared to the size of the skull of the cat, the longest canines on any living cat at this point. Note that I say living because we all know that their ancestors had long canines, some of them. But for the cats we have now, the Bornean clouded leopard does have this very small skull with kind of giant canines, which give them this record. And it have a tail that can grow almost as long as their bodies, which looks a little bit weird compared with these short legs and small head. I did mention before that the Sundra clouded leopard lives as the Bornean ones does on Borneo, and then we had the one on Sumatra. Though I will just mention very fast that they live in foresty areas, which I think I forgot to mention earlier. The Sundra clouded leopard and therefore also the Bornean clouded leopard are carnivores, as most cats are. Their diet is a little bit different since they are very limited to the places they live, so they eat deer, birds, squirrels, monkeys, wild pigs and porcupines. And I wouldn't like to attack a living porcupine, but the clouded leopard here, or the Sundra clouded leopard here, clearly do. Because of the mainly good weather year-round for the Sundra clouded leopard, they can actually breed year-round, though it does peak through December, January, March, kind of like the snow leopard, but again they don't have this restriction of there's most prey in some certain time of year, or there's too cold some times of year, so they can't do it year round. They will give between 1 and 5 cubs, and they will be pregnant for 85 to 95 days, so they will also be pregnant shorter than the snow leopards. The cubs are born completely helpless, but already after 10 months they will be able to take care of themselves, and after 2 years they will be able to make cubs of their own. Since the Sundra clouded leopard and therefore also the Bornean clouded leopard are highly arboreal, meaning they live a big chunk of their life up in the trees, they are heavily in need of those trees. Therefore, of course, on Borneo as well as many other places, humans like us destroys the trees on a daily basis, which is a huge problem for the Bornean and Sundra clouded leopard. Both the Sundra clouded leopard on Borneo and Sumatra have basically the same threats, therefore we already been over them, I think, here with the Bornean clouded leopard, but it is a big part of these where they get hunted for their body parts and their fur, like also the snow leopard, and their body parts are used in traditional medicine. And then of course when you destroy the forest, you destroy the habitat, so they have a lot of the same issues, even though the snow leopards and the Sundra clouded leopard are very different leopards and live a long way away from each other. They have the same issues, which tells a lot if you ask me. They are vulnerable, the Sundra clouded leopard at this point. Keep in mind that the Bornean clouded leopard is endangered, and I'm guessing that's because the number of this Sumatran Sundra clouded leopard are bigger than the Bornean clouded leopard is. I know I'm sometimes telling horror stories here on my channel, and that's also why I didn't mark my channel as child friendly. I know that's probably gonna hurt my numbers at some points, but I don't really care. I do feel like children should hear these stories, but I do feel like it's nothing they should hear on their own. But if you want to see my channel along with the kids, I highly recommend it. It's not like I'm telling highly sexual stories or anything like that. It is about the animals, but it can hurt. If you never heard these kind of stories before, you can get a little bit shocked by some of them. And I totally understand that, and therefore my channel isn't child friendly on its own. However, I know when I was a child, this was the kind of stories I like to read about because it is real drama in the world, and not only the drama we like to talk about, but the drama that actually happens, where living creatures lose their home, their food source, their water, their habitats, their everything, only for humans to get a nice coat or a nice skull to hang on their wall or something like that. So I do know that these are terrifying stories I tell, but I only believe that it is important stories to tell. A lot of people never gonna know these stories, and I would really like to do my best to inform people about them. I know I'm not a zoologist and I don't know anything about it, to be honest, but I read and I try to educate myself, and I really want to educate others. So I'm really happy the people of you who subscribe to my channel are joining this journey with me, and they're being a part of all of this, because I think these are the really important thing to talk about, and a lot of people neglect that. Now, for the cinematics today, I decided to actually start with a full view around the entire kitty house, since it is done at this point, and I really hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna take the full turnaround, and then I'm gonna show you just these two habitats afterwards. I hope you're gonna watch it all, and I will be back afterwards. Okay guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. This was, as I mentioned earlier, 2 very different subspecies of leopards, but they are still leopards. I really hope you all learned something today, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And you know the drill guys, like, subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!